Are you the type of person that likes to think outside the box and would like to host your own show on our platform? If so, you can schedule an appointment with Shawn Stewart at shawn.stewart@sportsforamerica.com. Again, that's shawn.stewart at sports4america.com. Serious inquiries only.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are broadcasting right now. Join me on the line right now. This is actually the first show, by the way, on I'm All In. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome for the very first episode is the Primetime Capper. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, Sean. Thank you for having me in here for your first show of I'm All In. And shout out to all the fans and everything like that of yours. Thank you for having me on your platform as well, too. I look forward to going ahead and breaking down some games for you today.
All right. And by the way, I'm All In is presented by the Superdraft Sportsbook. You can download that app for free on Google Play or on the Apple app. The link will be in the description on the YouTube channel. And by the way, it is also owned by Caesars Entertainment, by the way. So not only you're going to look at the video, but it's also going to be also on audio as well. So just letting people know about that as well. All right. So we have a super wild card weekend, of course. The first game we're going to talk about is the Las Vegas Raiders and the Cincinnati Bengals. So as of right now, the Bengals are sitting as a 5. Now, one of these teams are going to break their longest drought as the Raiders. They haven't won a playoff game since the 2002 NFL playoffs. Of course, they went to Super Bowl 37. And then the Bengals have not won a playoff game since 1991. Of course, that was Sam White as head coach. Now, the Raiders, they've won like the last 4 games. Each of the Raiders' last 3 victories came as a underdog, which is like 6-2 straight up and against the spread. Now, the Bengals are 0-7 straight up and 0-6-1 against the spread in his last 7 wildcard games. 4 of those 7 games were at home. Now, the issue I have with the Cincinnati Bengals is their offensive line. And then I'm worried about Joe Burrow getting sacked because let's be honest, that Bengals team is like the youngest team as heading to the NFL playoffs. So if you are the Cincinnati Bengals, let's say somebody's been on the Cincinnati Bengals, what is your concerns as you're facing against the Raiders?
Your concern is that defensive line right now. That Raider defensive line is playing absolutely tremendous right now. They are the end-all, be-all when it comes down to what that team is doing. So I truly do think that at the end of the day, the Raiders are in a very, very, very good spot to get an upset. The Bengals, on the other hand, they're new to this, and their coach is still a coach that you question. I know a lot of people think Taylor's done a great job, but I still say to myself, I think the verdict is still out on him because he was so awful in the first few seasons as their coach. Now, I would say that this game really is going to put a lot of pressure on this Bengals team. And I don't think that they play well up under pressure. Yes, they beat the Chiefs, but I think the Chiefs were being a little lackadaisical in that game, and their defense is starting to kind of come back to being kind of something that they can't trust anymore. So, Mahomes is now dealing so well, so they don't have to worry about the defense, getting blown up the way that it did. So that game was more about, emotions and things like that. But I think when you're a team that's just knocked off 4 potential playoff teams, the Raiders were the sole reason why 4 teams didn't get to the playoffs in their last 4 games of the year. That's the team that I do not want to play in the first round of the playoffs, Sean.
And also, let's not forget John Madden passed away. So if John Madden is happy that the Raiders are in the playoffs for the first time since 2016.
Yes.
Exactly.
And that's huge. And this is Derek Carr's first playoff as well, too. So, this is going to be big, man. This is going to be a big moment for Derek Carr moving forward. And I know a lot of people are talking about his contract situation. But at the end of the day, though, that doesn't matter. He's going to be a Raider for as long as he wants to be a Raider. Because what have the Raiders have had? What have they had that was better than Derek Carr over the last 20 years, or at least since Rich Gannon? Come on, let's keep it real, Sean. So he's not going anywhere.
All right. Now that's one of the two games on Saturday. Then another one that's a primetime game. That is the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. This is the third time they actually met. The last time they played each other, the Buffalo Bills won that game. So right now the Bills are sitting as a -4. Now the Patriots are 10-7 against the spread, and the Bills are 9-6-2 against the spread. Now the Patriots have won 9 of the last 10 visits to Orchard Park. Now, what like concern with the Buffalo Bills is their first in total yards allowed, passing yards, and points allowed, as the Patriots did ran for 372 yards and 4 touchdowns in those two meetings. Now, I still have the Buffalo Bills winning that game, but it would not be surprising if the New England Patriots do pull the upset against the Buffalo Bills, because many people thought like the Buffalo Bills would be like the number one team in the AFC, but right now Tennessee is number one in the AFC as they're waiting for their next opponent.
All right. Well, when I look at this game, I think that this is the cut out the lights game for the Patriots, dude, because Mac Jones has hit the proverbial rookie wall, Sean, and that is very, very significant to me. You cannot go off and think that you're going to run the ball 40 times and beat the Bills this time around. That's not going to happen. So I think that the Patriots offense is not looking good enough to even think about beating the Bills in this spot. I think that the Bills are very, very, very comfortable on what they bring to the table. Okay. And I think that they're over this whole fear factor of Bill Belichick and his Patriots, because Bill Belichick's greatest pupil isn't there anymore. So they're okay. And then there is a way for, pretty much for us to see and look at this situation and say, okay, the Bills have already crossed that bridge. So we're looking at, I know everybody has, but it's the Patriots. It's Bill B. I think that that 8-game run that they had was really good. You know what I mean? 2-4.
Right.
You wind up at the end of all of it being 10-4, but you saw the way that they finished the season. They did not finish the season well at all. They got to get over win over Jacksonville in the last 3 weeks. Their other two games were you can't really write home about that type of stuff, and they were two divisional games at that. So yeah, this Patriots team is coming in here. Very, very suspect. And I would say this, they're hard to trust. So if you really are gung ho about a Patriots upset, good for you. But I'll pass on that and give me the Bills all day and twice on Mondays.
All right, now next one is the Sunday game. We have the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Buccaneers. Now the total is 46. Now the Eagles, I found out when I was looking at when I was doing my research, they're 4-2 against the spread in his last 6 games against Tampa. Now Jalen Hurts is 3-0 straight up record and 27 points per game with 236.3 passing yards per game. Now I look at this game, I was like, you know what? The Buccaneers should close the deal against the Eagles. I would just take the Buccaneers the 8.5.
I agree. Because you know why you take the Bucks 8.5? Because the Bucks have been absolute monsters at home. Yeah, the Saints beat them, but the Saints have their number. That's the whole thing. The Saints know exactly how to combat them. Okay, and the Saints have a game plan for them. They might not have had a great game plan for the teams they lost to, but they always have something ready for the Bucks. And so I just think that that's just a team that has your number. So pretty much that game that happens. But other than that, at home, this team is won by double digits or better each time out. So taking the 8.5, that's absolutely like that. I think that might be the surest bet of the weekend. And I give you this because this. Now the Eagles have covered well in games, but when it comes down to playing teams that are over 500, this team is 0-7. All pretty much every
Wow.
single had this season has been against teams actually 0-8 versus teams that are 500 or better. So you can look that stat up right now, Sean, and they've lost 8 games to teams over 500. They're 0-8, and they feasted on bad teams. They went 9-1 in that category. So, yeah, there it goes for you right there. That sums up the Philadelphia Eagles season for you right there. And actually 0-7. Let me take that back, 0-7, so I could be right on the money about this because they wound up finishing up 9-8. And then you saw the Cowboys drop 51 for the second time in 3 weeks on them. I couldn't touch this team with a 20-foot pole, brother.
That's a great one. I like that one. Now, the next one, there's the 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm seeing some public they're putting money on the 49ers. So as of right now, the Cowboys are favored by 3. This is a game I probably would not even lay on. But the over is 7-1 in Dallas' last 8 home games against the 49ers. Now, the Cowboys rank 16th in the NFL in rushing yards allowed. And if I'm the 49ers, you need to run the ball early so that way you can wear off that Cowboys defense. But this is a game I do not want to lay hands on. But yeah, I just like, you know what? I don't know which team is going to win that game, but I'm just going to sit back, relax, and watch this one.
You know what? I think that you're on to something there, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Anybody betting San Francisco, that's all pride right there, and that's all I hate the Cowboys bets. Don't spite bet. You know, in my time, don't ever be a spite better because when you're a spite better, you're gonna lose your money and you're gonna be really mad about it. I would say this: when I look at both these teams going into the playoffs, San Francisco looked really good last week, the way that they finished that game. But I think, honestly, the Rams kind of let them off the hook because, once again, the Rams fall in the same category as the Bucks do when they play against the Saints. The 49ers just have their number. Guess how many times the 49ers have beat the Rams in a row, Sean?
How many?
6. They haven't beat that team since 2019. And they actually have won, I think, they in their record now in Los Angeles since the Rams came back home is 5-1. And I can even count the last 3-4 games they played in Los Angeles before they moved to the States. So now to St. Louis. So now it's really like 10-1 in their last 11 in LA versus the Rams. So they just own the Rams in LA. It's just that simple. But when it comes down to it, the Cowboys are one of the better betting teams in the league. They're one of the teams in the league that you can trust. The Cowboys' record against the spread this year is this. The Cowboys lost 1 game against the spread this year. The Cowboys were absolutely tremendous when it came to going against the spread this year. And pretty much their games were all games that were, they lost 4 games to be exact, but against the spread. I got to recheck, but at the end of the day,
Sure.
they did damn well against the NFC. Their record against the NFC this season was 10-1, or was 11-1. They lost to one team. That was the Bucks opening day.
Right, week 1.
Lost to.
Yeah, you're right. All right, here's another primetime game. It is the Steelers and the Chiefs. Now, both of these teams are 8-9 against the spread. Now, I already took this one. The Chiefs 12.5. Total is 46. Now, the Steelers, they held their opponents below 24 points in each of his last 4 wins. So I got to give Pittsburgh the credit for making that playoff run by doing that, especially last week against Baltimore. Now, they're 4-0 against the spread under each time. Now, the Chiefs, they have won 9 of his 10 and covered 6 out of 8. So that's like, hey, that's a great bet to even place money on. So I feel confident in that 12.5 for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, I don't, because the thing is, Big Ben's in the house. Big Ben's in the house. Big Ben's in the house. I'm telling you. And Big Ben is a guy that's like, all right, you know what, Big Ben, I know what you bring to the table, and I know that if I don't bring my A game, you gonna beat us today. And I don't think that that team wants to be anywhere near pretty much going out by 14 or better. I think the Chiefs win the game, but there's going to be an absolute fist fight to win this game. And I hate to do it because I don't like Pittsburgh at all. That's just natural. But I don't have biases towards teams like that, but Pittsburgh is a team that we can't never get right together. You feel me? Like, if I take them, they lose. If I bet,
yeah, that's what Pittsburgh reminds me of.
Right. So the thing is, I just say this: take the 12.5 or just watch the game, because they're going to give Patrick Mahomes the toughest game he's going to play in all of the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be very physical. That's the whole thing. And I just hope that the Chiefs can match their physical in this game, because it's a whole new season. And Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger are in a position right now that they got their backs against the wall. And let me give you a great reminder. The last time Ben Roethlisberger walked into a playoff and literally had his back against the wall, he won his first Super Bowl against Seattle. I know you remember that moment as well,
I
too.
do remember that. It was in Detroit.
The same exact scenario. And this game is giving me Indianapolis Colts vibes from that time as well, too.
Yeah, I remember that was the year that the Super Bowl was in Detroit, Ford Field.
Correct. And I was in Vegas for that Pittsburgh Colts game, and if there could have been a pin that dropped in that casino that day. We were in New York that day. And I remember all the Steelers fans like, yep. And it just was an utter shock, because people had to understand that Colts team lost 2 games that season, I think.
Man, that's a great memory you got there. I did remember the Colts lost to the Steelers that year.
Yeah, they were 14.5-point favorites that day. I can never forget that game, ever. Because they literally said the Steelers had no shot.
Because I remember when they said
that
the Steelers had no shot, because the public liked the Colts more than the Steelers did. I remember that year. And then finally, go ahead.
And never interception to run 20 yards down the field, and they said that he dropped the ball. Palomunu. I know you remember that. So
I remember
that's
that.
Why everybody has NFL.
I remember that was yesterday.
So that situation.
Thank you for that inspiration. All right, next one. The Arizona Cardinals and the LA Rams. Now, the Cardinals are 10-7 against the spread, and the Rams are 8-9. I don't know what's the spread on that one, because I forgot to write about that one, but the Cardinals are like the 9th team to win 8 road games in a single season. But like since November and December, they haven't winning games as they supposed to. So I'm a little worried about the Arizona Cardinals on that situation. And then we look at the running game for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, if you put Edmonds, Connor, and Murray, all 3 of them, they have 1,767 rushing yards, and the Cardinals are averaging like 122 rushing yards and have scored 23 rushing touchdowns, which is like 3rd in the league. And then I look at Matt Stafford as I was looking at this. Although he's 0-3, let's not forget, because he did play for the Detroit Lions, by the way. And since week 9, he has thrown a league high of 11 interceptions, 4 pick sixes, and finished with 17 interceptions. So if I'm a Rams fan, I got to be very concerned about that. Even though you have a defense, I'm concerned of what Matt Stafford will put on Monday night against the Arizona Cardinals. So this is another one. If I had to choose this one, I would say the Rams on this one, if I had to choose.
Look, I'm right there with you. I'm gonna tell you like this, because the moment that Kyler Murray hurt his ankle, the season was done. Just know this: Kyler Murray is gonna have off-season surgery. They're not saying anything in the news about it right now, but it's inevitable that's gonna happen, because that was a bigger situation than what it really looked to be. They wound up losing their first game at that point as well, too, when he did hurt his ankle. He hasn't really been the same ever since. And Kingsbury got to be one of the worst head coaches that has ever been hired in the NFL. He just is lucky that he has such a great GM that has blessed him with a great roster. That roster is winning. They're not winning with his help. They're winning because they're just very talented players. But when you get to the second half of the season, especially in the last 6 weeks, the coaching really, really does stand out. And that's why the Cardinals have been so stagnant, because everybody knows what they're coming with. And I think that this team just got a lot of their wins early, and I'm a horse racing person as well, too. You would call the Cardinals a front runner. That means the horse that sets the pace, and everybody's going to catch you at the end. And pretty much that's exactly what has happened. On Monday night, the Rams are going to go ahead and have themselves a ball. But I say buyer beware because anything can happen. I was at SoFi Live week 4, and Arizona had their way with Matt Stafford that day in a game that a lot of people didn't think that they were going to win. And they're going to go into Monday with a lot of people with the idea that the Rams should be able to just take care of this one. But that Cardinals team had J.J. Watt that day. This Cardinal team, if they have J.J. Watt, he's not going to be that. He's not going to be as effective as he was that day. I just truly think that as long as Matt Stafford just breathes and he just goes ahead and makes the right plays, the Rams shouldn't have any issue winning this game. But if they lose this game, it's going to be on Stafford and it's going to be on McVay. And you're from Detroit. You guys are laughing right now at this because you guys seen this movie before, and I chomped at the bit that Detroit really won in this deal because you have an upside in Goff who's going to have another good 5, 6, 7, 8 years, while you have a Stafford who's pretty much at the twilight of his career. But with the hype machine that the NFL is, they're going to make it feel like that the guy is still in his prime. But Detroit knows, Pop knows, so it's on you, Mr. Stafford, and it's on you, Mr. McVay, because the rest of the team going to take care of their business, but it's on you two to lead them to that win.
And then, if you did not hear, Kelly Stafford, Matt Stafford's wife, she said something on Sunday's game, like there were more 49ers fans than Rams fans. I was like, the 49ers are their most popular NFL team in California. How could you not know about that?
Right. And if it's a Raider and Chargers game, it's going to be 90 to 10% because I hate to say this, but the Raiders and the Niners run LA. I've been living in LA literally my whole life, pretty much. And I'm going to tell you like this, the 80s were huge for the LA Raiders and they were huge for the San Francisco 49ers. That's just transitioned into today. That's all that is, brother.
Exactly. Now, where can my listeners find you on social media, by the way?
They can find me on the Twitter at PopDBIC. You can also follow my media page where you can watch my daily show, The Primetime Angles Live, and also catch Horsing Around, my horse racing show for the picks over at Santa Anita. We also, you guys can also watch all my great interviews and all that stuff on Prime Wave Media, the channel, and also on Fanatics View as well, too. And then you guys can follow me on the Instagram at DBIC Wave _. And then also I have my media page there as well too for the Prime Wave media group. And then also if you guys are interested in being exclusive clients with me, because I do advise sports betting and things like that and give out daily plays, you guys can go also hit up the PTSI name on IG as well too, or you guys can just contact me directly at PopDBIC on the Twitter, and I'll get you guys situated.
All right, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you on the first episode of I'm All In. It's a very pleasure to have you on.
Shawn, it was a pleasure doing this show with you. So bring me back on in again when you need me, brother. Hopefully I'll be talking to you very soon. Maybe we can catch back up when it's time to talk about conference championships.
Yes, I was getting ready to say that, especially March Madness time.
Keep me in mind, brother. I had a great time talking to you. I'm glad that you brought the stats with you as well, too. So I look forward to doing another show with you. And if you have time in the day, maybe you can come on live with me and do the Primetime Angles, and we can get into some topics and things like that, not just betting and stuff like that. I wish I would have had you today to talk about the Derek Carr topic and the Rams topic as well, too, because I really went hard on the Rams today. And I know if you watched my show, you saw that as well, too.
I did watch that as well. I got to watch the replay of that again.
Because McVay he got to stop playing with daddy's money like that.
Exactly. And by the way, it's the Cronkites, okay? The Cronkites don't own the Rams. They own multiple franchises. Trust me.
Right. And they've never went all in for any of their teams but the Rams. And that's because they want to win a Super Bowl in their stadium. And I keep trying to chomp this at the bit. And I said, if McVay fails at that, he might not have a job after this, dude, because I would think that if I'm an owner, I do not want my coach celebrating in the end zone with the team.
Oh yeah, that was kind of disrespectful. It's like, stop it.
I am not, and I said if I'm a player on the other side, oh, we really gonna get in your chest today.
Yeah, I'm looking at McVay like, dude, it's not over yet, man. You haven't won a Super Bowl. Like, get back.
Right. What is wrong with you? I said, no great coach does that.
Exactly. Not even Chuck Noll or any other great coach does that. Like, just get back.
Right. You don't do things like that. The great ones don't do that. I said, coaches, people that didn't get to play in the NFL do shit like that.
Exactly.
Thank you for taking this opportunity to watch this segment. If you like what you just saw, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube.